decided to let Don Wildman get on the tower for free for the antenna space. And at the time, I didn't like the idea. I wasn't living right. Years went by. Dad's gone to be with the Lord, and I lived a terrible, addicted life till I went in Teen Challenge 15 years ago. And little did I know at the time when when Dad let Don get on the radio tower, that I would be listening to it now every day when I work. I just want to thank Don Wildman and all the staff there for blessing me every day, and such a blessing that my dad saw the vision with Don and allowed them to get on the tower at Macomb.
Love those testimonies, Chris. I'll tell you what, it just does our heart great to see how God is using American Family Radio. And folks, God uses your gift that you give. We only come to you 3 days in the spring and 3 days in the fall and ask you to bring us along. Our founder, Brother Don, has always said, we're not going to beg for money, folks. There are some, radio outlets that may beg for money every day. We are not going to do this. We trust the Lord will move your hearts to give whatever He has blessed you with to help us to continue in this fight. 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396 is the number to call, or you can go to afr.net. Chris, we were talking a bit about what's going on in our education system. Another element of that right now in some jurisdictions, and I'm thinking of examples in California right now, where basically, and this has happened in Virginia and some other places too, where you have school districts that don't want parents to know what's going on with their kids. And I'm thinking of the transgender issue now. There are school districts that say, we don't want to tell parents when little Johnny or little Jane comes and says, I think I want to be a member of the opposite sex. I want you to call, if it's a he, I want you to start calling me a she. And there are school districts that are out there saying, we don't want to tell the parents about it.
Yeah. Chino Valley Unified School District in California actually voted on a policy. School board members that were voted on by the community, they enacted a policy that requires parents be notified if their child wants to go by a different gender or pronouns at school. And Attorney General Rob Bonta there in California has sued the school district, saying this is not fair to their students and things of that nature. Going back to your point about the media and how they often control the narrative over this, there's been a lot of mainstream media news coverage over this case, and they only include what the Attorney General says about the case. But interestingly enough, the attorneys that we've talked to for AFN.net stories have told us that the Attorney General doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. He's not pointing to any law or a violation of California's Constitution by Chino Valley having this school district. And by the way, Chino Valley is one of like 7 or 8 school districts now in California that have this policy, but for some reason, Mr. Bonta is only picking on Chino Valley, and so he's taken them to court over this, and he's claimed things like this is unfair to the students, it's going to out the transgender students and cause them to be picked on by their peers and things of that sort. But the attorneys that we've talked to at Liberty Justice Center, which is the law firm representing Chino Valley, they've told us he doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. Parents actually have the rights here. It's the same thing as a school needing permission to give your kid a Tylenol or to show a film or to take them off campus for a field trip. It's that same situation. Hey, you need to include parents here. They're not saying a kid can't do this. They just say mom and dad need to be advised because parents have the rights and the final say in this situation. I bring up Chino Valley, Fred, because next week on October 19th, 1 week from today, attorneys for the state of California as well as Chino Valley, they're going to be in court arguing over something called a temporary restraining order. When the Attorney General filed suit over Chino Valley, he asked for and got a temporary restraining order that blocks Chino Valley from enforcing its policy. That's what they're going to be arguing about next week, whether or not that TRO should continue. And brace yourselves, because this case could extend into 2025. Based on the conversation that I had with Emily Ray, the attorney for the school district, yesterday.
Well, this is all part of spiritual warfare, folks, and we're all involved. You're one of the soldiers, too, and this is why we come to you to help out right now. We regard ourselves as being on the front line in this spiritual warfare, but we need your help. You help us buy the ammunition that we need to fight these battles. And want to thank you right now to Patrick in Sorrento, Louisiana, John in Gleason, Tennessee, and Scott at Albert Lee, Minnesota, and Joni in West Union, Iowa, and Bill in Meeker, Oklahoma. Those are just some of the people who have called in the last few minutes. You can join them right now by dialing 877-616-2396, 877-616-2396, or you can go to afr.net. And I'll tell you what, folks, we're just in the final hours. Just a few hours, it'll all be over, not only for Fall Share-a-thon, but for this year. Won't have an opportunity again until next spring sometime. So make the call right now, 877-616-2396. Chris, another part of the spiritual warfare that's going on right now, and we may have to hold you over until after the next break or so to get into this a little bit more. You cover a number of cases where Christian liberty is at stake. I'm thinking of Christian bakers, Christian photographers, all being taken to court because they want to take a biblical stand.
Right. Yeah, Jack Phillips is probably the household name out there that comes to mind when people talk about religious liberty cases. And I bring up Jack Phillips because he's actually going with his attorneys from Alliance Defending Freedom to the Colorado Supreme Court over like a decades-long dispute over Jack's refusal to design a so-called transgender reveal cake. There is an attorney in the state of Colorado whose last name is Scardina, and Mr. Scardina pretends to be a woman and wants to go by female pronouns and things of that sort. And a long time ago, he called Masterpiece Cake Shop and asked Jack to make a blue cake that's pink on the inside for his transgender reveal cake. And Jack said, I can't do that. I'm a Christian. I believe in traditional biblical beliefs on gender, man, female, that kind of thing. Well, Scardina, being an attorney who knows how to work the system, ends up going to court, and we're having to go to the Colorado Supreme Court now to try to get Jack the right to say, hey, I don't have to make this.
All right. You see, folks, this is why it's so important that you be part of this battle. You may say, well, I'm not a baker, I'm not a Christian photographer, but folks, the left will find a way to take away your freedoms. There are groups out there that want to take away your freedom to worship. There are groups out there that, quite frankly, would like to take American Family Radio off the air. And there are politicians that don't like us here. It's all part of the battle, folks, to get truth out there. I spent many years in Canadian broadcasting. You cannot do the content that we have here at American Family Radio, you cannot do in Canada because of broadcast restrictions against this kind of thing. So make the call, 877-616-2396.
Hi folks, I'm Ray Pritchard. For the last few years, you've heard my voice on American Family Radio. I joined this ministry because I believe in our shared vision of transforming culture through biblical principles. We bring you news and information from a Christian